We would like to welcome you in this new session of No Talk series that is given to you by Muhammad bin Rashid Knowledge Foundation partnership with the United Nations Development Program. These talks that make our life and the future of our entities better by enriching different aspects of our life. And also today I will be pleased to have a leadership Emirati character, which is well known in the field of technology and artificial intelligence. His Excellency Saeed Aldhaheri would like to welcome you in our No Talks today. Good morning. I'm really pleased to be with you today in Abu Dhabi International Book Fair in 2022 and be hosted by Muhammad Baraj Al Maktoum Knowledge Foundation in cooperation with the UNDP, and also pleased to be with the unique media practitioner and author Safia Al Shehi. Thank you, Doctor. Before we start, I would like to note, and also we need your concentration. I would like to give some details. This session, as you know, it's live through our platforms, and you can follow the details, asking questions in the Q&A section, and we will ask His Excellency. Also, you can interact directly by using English language by pressing the globe icon on the platform. You can hear live interpretation. Thank you for our colleagues there. And before I open the floor for our guest and for his presentation, I would like first to speak about him. Dr. Saeed Aldhaheri, he has more than 30 years of experience in digital transformation in governmental and the UAE. He is an academic and he is also future foresight lecturer. He worked in his life in different titles, like the general director founding for the ID Emirates Identity, and also he is a member in the Emirates Space Council, and he is consultant in data and information, and he is now director center for the future studies in the University of Dubai, and also he's a lecturer in Muhammad bin Rashid Governmental University. He is a council member in the augmented reality, which is affiliated to the economical forum, and also a member on the Safe Internet Foundation. And he has many lectures with different international universities, such as the OPEC, Oxford University, Cambridge University, and many others. He has many productions in writing, like the digital generation and how the UAE building a future depending on the technology. Now I will move the floor. For the coming 20 minutes, he will explain, and after that, we will ask him questions. The floor is yours, Your Excellency. Thank you, Safia, for this. I have a presentation. I will share it with you for 20 minutes. I will give you a background about the topic toward the future of better future for AI, talking about the community wanted and looking for. After that, we will open the floor for discussion, and I will be pleased to receive your questions to answer that. As you know, when we speak about AI, there are different questions we need to focus at. How can we build a safe, fair, transparent, and sustainable AI? Also, this is the top priority for the world in the development of the different applications. So we talk about AI, which is safe, fair, transparent, and sustainable. That can be explained for the outcomes and for the algorithms we will have. The second one, who is responsible and accountable when we set these AI algorithms and it is used by the companies or even the community in general, and there is a mistake, who is responsible and who will be responsible? Is it the user? Is it the developer? Or who? This is very important, and we will talk about what is the role of the governments and society in developing the AI applications. And we will explain what do we mean by responsible applications. Finally, are we the entities and also the people who develop these algorithms, are we implementing our corporate values with AI? For example, fairness, for integration, and this avoiding discrimination, especially when we talk about the big industry, the major companies that develop the AI algorithms. Are they committed to these values and mottos? This is, in a brief, what we will speak about. As we can see today, and we all can see, artificial intelligence has different uses. And these algorithms take decisions like granting loans or even choosing our kids' universities or colleges, and also marking exams, in addition to recruitment and the filtration of the CVs, and also choosing the candidates, also providing recommendations, as we can see on movies on the TV, if we would like to travel to it. And we start also to see it in different applications in our life and in the community, like the self-driving cars, also predicting crimes. In addition to investments, it's making money. It starts to go to the also health sector, diagnosing medical images, also this classifying the medical photos, also suggesting treatment plan. So we can see many applications for AI as we can see it in our life. But with this momentum and this great amount of application within this short time, the last 5 or 10 years, where we start to see the AI, there are buzzing questions and also buzzing notes. Is AI capable to eliminate bias or even avoid bias? This is very important. Is it ethical from the values perspective, principles that all these applications build on? Also, is it safe? Do we have safe applications AI uses? The important question, is it an addition or better than what a human being do? So many buzzing questions for the specialists in this field, and that has impact on the communities and the governments. Also, I would like to mention the motto which say AI will not destroy the world, but what will destroy it? The lack of responsibility. Not being responsible in developing these applications and the uses in our community. So artificial intelligence will not destroy the world. Our irresponsibility will destroy the world, especially with the impact and how we develop it without any responsibility or any governance, good governance. Here I present some failures or even failures in the AI algorithms. It's not in the algorithm itself, but in the development of these algorithms and how it's in the community. We have seen some systems that was developed for the diagnosis. It gave wrong diagnosis, especially in the field of medicine. And here is the responsibility, as we spoke about a health system, and that will lead to life or death. We have seen also algorithms by mistake. And one of the application, it classified a group of Congress senators that they are a mugshot. So they have crimes. So important point I would like to speak about, the mistake in the AI algorithms in one of the bases that led to the resignation of a government in Denmark. I will mention it quickly. They developed algorithm in 2013 to take decisions about the social support fund for the families with the new kids. And they left this algorithm to take decisions according to the input, and they trained the algorithm about it to take decision if this family or the applicant for the social support, they deserve or not deserve that. This algorithm, by time, developed a style or a pattern of learning and start to recognize between the Dutch and non-Dutch citizens, and also start to recognize according to the ethics, is he white or not white or a minority? And they discovered that at a later stage in 2019, 2020, the government spot these mistakes, and many families that applied for the social support, the algorithm refused or rejected their application. Who is responsible? And that have a direct impact on the community. And in 2021, the government resigned the entity who developed that, which is the taxes authority, and it reached to the highest level. So as we can see, it's not enough for the time, but I will give you small statistics. One of the specialized centers in Georgetown University, he did a study in 2020 about the mistakes in the last 3 years, 2017 till 2020, and the percentage of mistakes in the AI algorithms. 1,200 publicly reported cases of AI failures over just 3 years. And the World Economic Forum, in his report about the Global Risk Perception Survey this year, 2022, mentioned that 10% from the entities, only 10% for the participants in this survey, more than 2,000 international entities, 10% have an established risk mitigation effort to face the risk of AI. So only 1 out of the 10 has effective plan. to mitigate the effort. That means 99% of these entities, they haven't got active plans in order to face the risk of using AI algorithms. There is another study for Gartner, international consultant, say that 85% of AI projects will deliver enormous outcomes by 2022 due to bias in data. So it will have erroneous outcomes because bias in data, or even algorithms, or the team responsible for the managing them. It's not diversity or different. So 85% of these projects, it's expected to have a mistake percentage. So what is the problem that is available, and why these mistakes available? There are different challenges building a responsible AI operation, AI ethics, as we mentioned, to find a system of governance, wise system, to say the responsibilities and the roles for the life cycle of developing the application from the start of thinking about it till we apply it, use it, and also revise it. So we need to have a good governance system, taking into consideration the trained stuff and also the different knowledge, not only about data science or machine learning, but also like data ethics and AI ethics and psychology. Today, the role of psychology, we see it's very important morals to be in this system. The second point, the lack of regulatory urgency that control the AI. There is different initiatives for the European Union to develop that, but now there's a study to implement it in the coming 6 months and start implement it from next year, 2030. Also, the lack of standards and benchmarks. When we talk about fairness, the fairness, what is our definition for fairness? Maybe every company will have different ones. So there isn't an international standard to be implemented on these companies, and that's part of the problem. Now, companies, international one like IEEE and Alan Turing Institute in Britain to develop international standards by governments and entities. Also, the shortage of talents. We haven't got specialized talents and skills that are different, especially in developing the AI. And the last point, we haven't got the tools or amateur tools to be used in measuring when we speak about fairness or transparency or explainability, how we can explain the algorithm. We haven't got the tools, which is ready in the market. Now, companies start to do it in the last 2 or 3 years to develop these tools. And this in brief, talking about the need to have for a framework for a trustworthy AI. And in the slide here, we can see what is the higher commission in the European Union. They developed a framework for the AI ethics, developed on basic form principle, like respect of a human autonomy, and prevention of harm. So not to harm a human being, fairness, especially on the algorithm outcomes, and explainability, not to be just a black box. We need to turn the black box to a glass box in order to know how the algorithm reached to this decision. We have 7 indicators to achieve that. The first one, to be a human aspect, not to leave it for the AI algorithm to take the decision without the human being in the loop, to like a human in the middle to verify and to make sure that the decision taken by the AI is correct and it's built on safe, privacy, on governance, and transparency, and the diversity. So it's very important in developing the AI applications, the teamwork that develop these algorithms, they need to be diversified. I mean, we need to have males and females. Also, we need to have different knowledge, not only specialists in data or specialists in machine learning, but also specialists in other fields who are aware about data ethics and AI ethics. At the end, social and environment well-being, suitability, I mean the community and the environment. Today, the AI algorithm that's developed by the companies, it's consume a lot of energy in order to train this algorithm. So from where we get this power and energy, we need to have sustainability in the environment, and finally accountability. We need to have accountability on the developers till this reach to the CEO or even the other entities. There's a technical problem. Maybe the battery is dead. Hello, can you hear me? Hello, hello. So the mic is working. And the last point is accountability. We need to have responsibility in the life cycle. And this is I talked about before. These factors, the problem, maybe the companies and the entities, they have ethic framework for AI, but to put it and to implement it on the algorithm, this is the biggest challenge, because that need a lot of knowledge and also a lot of experience in addition to machine learning and data science, and also the work teams. Of course, here in a brief, we talk about how we build artificial intelligence. I spoke about it in my speech, but here just to open the field for questions, and this is what I want to hear from our people and to interact with their questions and interactions. I would like to finish with this nice sentence. As we see the future, so we act. And as we act, so we become. So I would like to finish with this sentence. And now we open the floor. Dear Safia, we hear now your question and our people question. So thank you very much, Dr. Saeed, for this nice explanation. and that you spot very essential points in the field of AI and how it's related to the community ethics, regulations. There's many questions. One question from me, as we are talking about these leaders, developers, who will also put their input in the establishment and developing the learning of AI. So we are here speaking about the community as a whole. How do you see our community today, how they look to AI in a responsible way in order to manage to achieve what you said? This is very important question that is touching the community as a whole. What is the role of the community in AI? And it's mentioned on the highest level. In the World Economic Forum, they had a white paper and they mentioned that today it is very important for the government to transfer AI literacy to the community in general. So not only to have people with knowledge in AI, like developers, specialists, that's required in all the fields like data science, machine learning, or even we are talking here about the culture of AI. We need to spread the culture of AI, and the community member, they have a responsibility when they use the algorithms to make sure to check who is the developer and to put the question on the table regarding the fairness and also the test they have done, how they used it. So today it's a very important responsibility, and we need to transfer this culture, and that need a huge effort from the governments to move the culture of AI through these webinars, and I can see that it can be seen in the International Book Fair. It's not about the book anymore. Yesterday I was saying when the pen and the book, and I'm thinking here enlightenment happen. We need to enlighten the community, and also the community, they are responsible about it. We here talk about lifelong learner, lifelong learning. When I see this a new technology and will impact me as a member of the community, I need to understand that how it works. I need to learn about it. To spread the culture of AI, this is very important for the community. And this is a joint or shared responsibility, universities, governments, between three sectors, technological sector, also corporate social responsibility to enlighten the community, and also governments about defining and training employees at the workforce, which is in the government, or even through the webinars and raising the awareness in the community. And also the NGOs, the universities, they have big role about it. I am imagining if we reach to a maturity for the community members about knowing the problems in AI and the different challenges, we will have a great benefit, and that will have impact from the community to the companies to change their way of work and to try to introduce a human being to the technology to be more humanitarian, more fairness, and also accepting the community. What about the privacy and also what's accepted, not accepted culturally and in the field of knowledge? There is a lot of questions. I will give you questions. There's a question, when we will have AI, general AI, general artificial intelligence, AGI, there's an expectation for the scientists in this field. Some people say it will be in the 30s or 2030. Some people say 2042. But definitely there is a lot of work from the companies, the big tech, and also research centers to move toward the general artificial intelligence. Could you please define it? Yes. General artificial intelligence, today, the AI, it is a narrow AI. Narrow AI developing algorithm to do specific tasks. For that, we look at it for the relation between the machine and the human being. How is this relation? The new thinking in this field, scientists talk about the issue of artificial intelligence need to develop a human being and not to replace a human being. Because when we hear automation, and if we move to automation, Safia, it's very important for the governments and the responsible people to be aware and to have vision for the use of AI applications. If we look and run after automation and replaced by machine, that's easy, and that can be, we have seen a lot in the cashiers, even here in the UAE, in MS Mall, or even in the stations. There's supermarkets without a human being. Maybe it's important for supervision, but for payment, you pay through the machine. And we have seen it. Now it's taken the cashier jobs. So about automation, it's happened. But here we talk about the relation, how we use AI to strengthen a human being capabilities, to make us more productive, to cut the effort in our jobs, to perform in a better way. That's what we are looking for. This is the narrow. The artificial general intelligence. So for the AI to do as a human being, Allah give us this brain, and we can see now, we can see the large model. It was developed by Google. It's named Gato. It's not Gato the cake or the pie. I'm not sure why they say call it Gato, but here it can do 600 tasks. Can we consider it a step to achieve general AI? But we will need more time to reach to that. Maybe it will happen in the coming 10 or 20 years. The last study talked about 24/7. Here we talk about capabilities and human resource for the companies. Now, all the companies need to follow this path. How we can strengthen these capabilities and develop them? Does it pay attention in developing the systems more than the developers? Two questions. The first one regarding the talents and competences. This is an international problem, not only for us or our community in the Arabic or GCC countries. There is a big shortage, and people, they are aware about it. We need the capabilities to develop that. And for that, I'm talking about the UAE and the effort of UAE in this field. We are aware about it. And when the country launched the AI strategy 2021 and was accredited in 2019, the most important one here is building capabilities and building talents in AI. For that, we can see many initiatives, like here in Abu Dhabi, we have His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed for AI, giving master and PhD, and you will get a scholarship for free, even if you are local or non-local, especially in the master or PhD. Other universities now, they start to have data science and AI. Even in the bachelor degree, we have universities that give specialized degree. So we need to have belief from the companies for the importance, their capabilities and their staff to follow that. This is very important. Training the workforce in the government, in the companies. So to be aware, to have enough knowledge about AI knowledge, and we have seen many initiatives. Mohammed bin Zayed, there's a program for the CEO. The first batch was 40, and there's another batch now, and also the national program for AI from the AI office, 2018. They start to send the government employees for Oxford for 6 months program. So we create a community from the staff in the government, or even the companies, or even the community members, to be aware about artificial intelligence. This is a journey. It will not happen in one day. Science develop, AI develop, and there is new models, new technology, and also training is a great important one. Of course, my time is very tight. I will try to ask you questions. Excuse me if I couldn't. The second part, the information systems first, or developing the people first. I think experience is very important. It's very important, very risky to develop the system without having the competences. So that will have a lot of risks. So in my, what I think about it, we need to have the qualified people, and those qualified people, they will develop competent systems, and they will minimize if there is any risk in the system. So we need to have a good human resource. And this is very essential in developing the technology. There is a repeating question about our future. Is it technological? And there is other things. This is very important. Technology today play a big role in our life, and it's considered one of the moving factor or changing factor in our community. So it's very important, but I talk about the other dimensions. The community, when we talk about future foresight, 5 steps: social, on social life, T for technology, E for economical, and second E for environmental, and last B for political. We need to look for the different dimensions and see how the technology start to be seen in the Russian-Ukraine war, and how they use as a weapon two-side or effective weapon in the political aspect. So other aspects is very important. We can see that technology is at the top, and we start to catch it with the laws and regulations. Also, the laws for the judgment. How can we do that? I think today what we need, technology move very fast, and it's very difficult to catch it. We need to cope up with these changes, but from regulations and laws, and this is the gap. At the beginning, when we see the curve on the technology, it's up, and after that down, till it reached to a steady or a plateau. In the field of regulations, we need to do our best to cope up with change. In the UAE here, we created what's called regulation laboratory regula. What do you mean by a lab for regulations? Even creating the policies, it's a joint process between the community and the specialist. So it should be iterative, like in adopting a technology like the self-driving cars. Our car, Sheikh Muhammad bin Rashid, may Allah protect him. He mentioned that self-driving cars will be soon in the UAE, and we'll start to work on it in the regulation lab with the specialists from MOI and stakeholders to study the impact of this technology on the community and what is the environment this technology will work at. We need to have readiness in the traffic, in the city, in the sensors, in the regulations. So we need to pave the way, the readiness of the environment. So it's iteration 1, we put a policy. Iteration 2, we develop the policy. So laying the regulations, it's not as a traditional way. It will take 3, 4, or 5 years. So it cope with the technology and go along with it. And here there's an overlap, which is important, between decision makers, between technology people, to work together to launch modern technology that will touch our work. On the level of criteria, you say there is a lot of responsibility, talking about the privacy of the community, and there's international standards, there's lack of understanding about it. There is a question about to have a global human rights, digital rights. United Nations and UNESCO at the end of 2021, they had a declaration for AI ethics. It was agreed globally from the government and the countries who are members in the United Nations, more than 183 countries. And we have an agreement on AI ethics. Now, the process of make this on the ground and implementation, here's the challenge. How we can implement this framework to make sure that the outcomes that we need, there is now virtual communities, they have their own standards. We need to have partnership between governmental and between laying the international standards. Today, as Arab communities, GCC communities, we need to participate in the international committees, not to leave the mission to other countries. We need to participate. And this need competencies. So the country today nominate specialists in IEEE or in the international committees to guarantee that our sounds here, and that answers the question, how any Arab communities to join this field, to put the brand, maybe it's very advanced in participating internationally, especially in this field. Also, talking about illiteracy, do you think that will have another literacy? We are talking about the human literacy. Now there's different literacies. In the past we say reading and writing, but now we talk about cultural literacy, ethics literacy, AI literacy. There's a big focus now, especially now the future for sight people and the people working in this field. It's very important to speak about the technology. If we leave the technology without and we leave it to the companies to develop as they want and they throw it on the community to achieve economical profit, that will create big problem. So human being factor in the technology is very important. Governments, also big companies, international organizations. And if we manage to have a formula for the technology and developing it to be more human, that will be great. I think also within the code of conduct, the professional principles for people who work in developing these algorithms. Also, I would like the university teachers from Muhammad bin Rashid, Dr. Wadima Aldhaheri. She speak about the problem of energy, the low producing energy areas, and that also talk about another gap. Thank you, Wadima, for this question. I think it's very important. This is the price for technology. Technology creates a gap. And this gap for the countries who have the energy and they can develop the algorithm, and the people, they haven't got the infrastructure. These capabilities for development, I think now there is many initiatives. This is very important. I talk about it in the international events, United Nations, or even in Davos. The inclusion, the concept of inclusion. It's not only for the governments or specific countries or companies. The communities need to participate. For that, there is an initiative from the United Nations. I can't remember the name, but using augmented reality and virtual reality. Now we move to the metaverse. The people hasn't got this technology, maybe close or far away continents. How they will be able to participate in that? There is an initiative by the United Nations, led by it, to fund, to have budgets and try to reach this technology to other countries. Talking about the disadvantages morally or ethics, is it related to AI by itself? Yes, these statistics was studied for the last 2 years, and they have seen the algorithm used maybe to take decisions or for social security support or giving recommendation. Where's the problem? If there is no responsibility and the human in the loop to verify that these outcomes is correct and leave all of this by the artificial intelligence, I will focus on that. And that was the excuse for the people in Denmark government. They said, we take the outcome as it is from the algorithm. So a human in the loop is very important. And that require empowerment. How I will know there is fairness in the outcome? I need to have indicator when developing the algorithm for fairness. And what is our definition for fairness? So many things need to be thought about. There's another question related to that, artificial intelligence, that's related to the privacy of a geographical area or a culture, like Arabic, for example. Arabic AI, there is initiatives, we start to hear about it. And this is a great achievement we need to point at. The Technical Innovation Institute in Abu Dhabi. This is a research center for Abu Dhabi Advanced Technology Research Council. They reached to a model of AI, they call it Noor, large language model, for more than 10 billion parameters, to use it in Arabic natural language processes. And this is a great achievement in our country and in Abu Dhabi. To have this model, which can be GB3 and the other international companies talking about the large language model. So thank God there is big AI focus from the UAE, from Saudi Arabia, Jordan, Egypt. Our Arab scientists who teach AI, they are in USA and other countries. How we can win these specialists? And here, our leadership, they want our country to be a talent magnet to attract these experience in the UAE or in other Arab countries to develop this. In the last few minutes, there is one question, and I apologize for the people. How come for the people who are interested about this area to join these centers and to benefit from these services, or even adding their experiences to it to serve this project? It is required from everybody to have competences. You would like to go Mohammed bin Zayed University for AI, prove yourself that you are eligible. Mohammed bin Zayed University for AI, or New York University in Abu Dhabi. We have universities that provide scholarships without any discrimination. So the focus from early age stages, it's not only for people and the family. The family also need to raise their kids from early stages to have that. And in the CV, to have things they have volunteered, maybe in Expo and other things, and also to be interested in a sport. Today, universities look at the person when he got graduated from Harvard or MIT or Oxford or Cambridge. What will be his role? He will be just holding a certificate from Harvard, or he will have impact in the community. That's what we want. I help this picture is here. What's nice, this session is recorded and people can hear to it. I would like to thank you very much for these questions. You enriched that and you taught me a lot from your experience. Thank you very much. Also, I would like to say the certificate of attendance will be sent within this week for the people attended. Dr. Saeed, thank you very much. Thank you, Safia, also. Very unique sessions. I would like to thank also Muhammad bin Rashid Foundation, Knowledge Foundation, for their kind hosting in cooperation with the UNDP. And also thanking our attendees and audience who watch us. I am available on social media, on Twitter, on LinkedIn. If you would like to communicate with me, you have my hashtag, HD Saeed and Dr. Saeed Aldhaheri. So you are welcome if you have any question. Also, the digital generation, there's 2 books in Arabic and English. I also advise people, I will not say because it's my book, but this book now proved itself on the Arab level and the English level. If you would like to have it, it's available on Motivate platform. Thank you, Doctor. And also again, thank you for our audience. What's nice that KnowTalks is continuing even after Abu Dhabi International Book Fair to enrich our life and to make our time much better and more knowledge and performance in our practical and personal life. My name is Safia Al Shehi with you. Thank you very much.